I used to think love was just unfair to me. Not because I could not find someone, I could. The problem was stranger than that. I kept finding the same person in different bodies. Different face, different voice, different job, different style. But somehow every time I ended up with someone emotionally cold, someone hard to read, someone who made me work for basic warmth like it was a reward I had to earn. And for a long time I called that chemistry. I called it fate. I called it bad luck. But one night after my third heartbreak that looked almost exactly like the first two, I had to ask myself a question that changed everything. What if this is not happening to me? What if I am helping create it? I remember sitting on my floor with my phone in my hand, staring at a message that said, "I'm just not good at this emotional stuff." I had heard some version of that sentence before, from another man, in another apartment, in another year. Before that it was, "I just need space." Before that, "You're asking for too much." Different words, same feeling. I felt lonely while being loved, or at least while being almost loved. And that is a very specific kind of pain, because it makes you feel like if you just try a little harder, say it better, be softer, be smarter, be more patient, maybe this time you will finally be chosen in the way you need. At first I blamed timing, then I blamed men, then I blamed modern dating. But deep down, something about that pattern felt too familiar. Not familiar in a comforting way, familiar in a painful way. Like my body already knew this dance. Chase, wait, doubt, hope, overthink, explain, settle, break. And that was the moment I learned something that hit me hard. We do not only chase what is good for us. A lot of the time we chase what feels familiar to our nervous system. That idea messed with me, because I always thought attraction meant truth. I thought if I felt strongly pulled towards someone, that meant they were right for me. But attraction can also be recognition. Not recognition of health, recognition of history, recognition of a pattern your body has practiced for years. And when I looked at my childhood honestly, I saw it. Love did not always feel warm to me growing up. It felt uncertain. It felt like trying to read moods. It felt like being good so I could stay close. It felt like being attentive, careful, helpful, and hoping emotional safety would come back in return. So when I met people who were easy, open, and consistent, part of me did not feel excited. Part of me felt bored. Not because they were boring, but because my brain had confused peace with a lack of chemistry. This is what psychologists sometimes call unconscious patterning. We repeat emotional dynamics that are unfinished inside us. We are not doing it on purpose. We are trying, without realizing it, to solve an old wound with a new person. We think, this time I will finally get the love I did not get before. This time the distant person will stay. This time the unavailable person will open up for me. This time I will win. But what we call love is sometimes just an old job application sent to a different company. And then there is something even more painful, familiar pain. Familiar pain is the suffering you already know how to survive. It is not good, but it is predictable. And the human brain loves predictable. A cold partner may hurt you, but if coldness feels normal to you, your body may choose that over a healthy person who feels emotionally clear. Because healthy love can feel unfamiliar, and unfamiliar to a scared nervous system can feel dangerous. So you do not say, "This person is bad for me." You say, "I do not feel a spark." Meanwhile, the person who triggers your old anxiety feels magnetic, deep, irresistible. But sometimes that spark is just your wound lighting up. When I realized that, I stopped asking, "Why do I always attract the same type?" and started asking, "Why do I keep choosing what feels emotionally familiar?" That question gave me my power back. Because attraction is not just something that happens to us. It is something we can learn to examine. So I did something simple. but uncomfortable. I wrote down the last 3 people I had loved. Then I wrote what attracted me to them. Mysterious, independent, hard to impress, calm, needed space. Then I wrote what it felt like to be with them. Uncertain, anxious, confused, lonely, hyper-aware, always waiting. That list was brutal because I could suddenly see the gap between what I called attractive and what I actually experienced in the relationship. I was choosing based on image, vibe, and emotional intensity. I was not choosing based on behavior. That became my next lesson. If you want to stop repeating the same pattern, you cannot keep choosing by feeling alone. You need standards based on behavior, not potential, not charm, not your hope. Behavior. Does this person communicate clearly? Do they follow through? Are they kind when they are stressed? Can they handle closeness without disappearing? Do their words match their actions? Do I feel calm after talking to them, or more confused? These questions are not unromantic. They are protective. They help you tell the difference between real compatibility and a familiar emotional trap. I started rewriting my standards in a completely different way. Before, my standards were vague. I want someone deep. I want someone interesting. I want someone confident. But vague standards are dangerous because almost anyone can temporarily look like your fantasy. So I changed them. I want someone who replies with consistency, not perfection. I want someone who can talk about discomfort without shutting down. I want someone whose affection does not disappear when things get real. I want someone who makes repair possible after conflict. I want someone I do not have to decode. And I also had to admit something humbling. The old pattern lived inside me too. It was not only about who I picked, it was also about what I tolerated. I stayed too long in emotional winners because part of me believed love was supposed to feel like proving something. I thought patience would earn intimacy. I thought understanding someone enough would make them finally show up. But love is not a prize for overfunctioning, and you cannot heal abandonment by abandoning yourself first. The hardest part of healing this pattern was not avoiding cold people. It was trusting warm people. It was letting consistency feel attractive. It was not creating drama when things felt stable. It was noticing when my body said, "This feels strange," and understanding that strange does not always mean wrong. Sometimes strange just means new. Sometimes peace feels empty only because chaos used to be home. So if you keep attracting the same type, I want you to pause before blaming fate. Look at the pattern with honesty. Ask yourself what feels familiar, not just what feels exciting. Ask yourself whether your heart is choosing love or whether your nervous system is choosing a story it already knows. Because repeating a pattern does not mean you are broken. It usually means something old inside you still thinks familiar pain is safer than unfamiliar peace. I learned that the goal is not to find a different face. The goal is to become a different chooser, to stop calling anxiety chemistry, to stop calling confusion depth, to stop calling emotional distance a challenge worth winning. Real love should not feel like chasing a locked door and celebrating when it opens 2 inches. Real love should feel like truth, steadiness, and mutual effort. I used to think I had a type. Now I think I had a wound with a dating preference. And the moment I understood that, everything started to change. Because once you see the pattern, you do not have to keep living inside it. You can write new standards. You can choose by behavior. You can trust what is calm. And maybe the biggest sign that you are healing is this. The person you used to call boring starts to look safe. And the person you used to call exciting starts to look familiar in the worst way. That is when your love life changes. Not when luck changes, when your pattern does.
We've done it.